disclosure. Sober disclosure. Breezy's a slut.
And we like it in the butt.
Are you or someone you know looking for support in recovery? Taste Recovery is your go-to directory for sober resources. Whether you're searching for treatment centers or sober living communities, Taste Recovery connects you with the right tools and support to help you on your journey. With a user-friendly platform and a comprehensive list of resources, Taste Recovery makes finding the help you need easier than ever. Start building your path to a healthier, sober life today. Visit tasterecovery.com to find the resources that work for you. Taste Recovery, your first step to a lasting positive change. Hi everyone, I'm Breezy.
And I'm Jimmy.
And we are
Sober
Disclosure.
We are here with the ruiner of neighborhoods, Wren and Stimpy.
Yes.
Oh my.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming, Wren. Okay, so, and also before we start, we just want to let everyone know if you are listening, please like and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and Instagram. So please follow us everywhere. Tell your friends, leave comments, all of that.
It's just sober
for
disclosure.
Us. Yes.
Love
Thank you. Anyways, back to our main event. Wren. Okay, Wren, so give us the spiel. How much time sober do you have?
I have 17 years coming up on 18, May 22nd.
That's a lot.
May 18th is your sobriety date?
May 22nd.
Oh,
May
why did I just
22nd.
hear May 18th?
I said May 17th. No, wait. Now you got me all messed up. I have 17 years and I'm coming up on 18, May 22nd. I think you heard May. You heard 17 in
And
May.
18. Yeah.
I don't know
May
why you.
22nd is your sobriety birthday.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
my brother's birthday.
And I will have
Aw.
18 years. Yes.
Wow, that's
God
absolutely
willing.
incredible.
You never know.
Congratulations.
Tink you.
Yeah, no, literally though, you really never know.
You never know.
Okay, so is this your first time getting sober?
Yes, it is.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh no! I lied.
In
Take that
sobriety.
back. I lied. I just called myself on it. So back in 2000, I had a friend that I was partying with, and his family was in recovery, and he had an issue too and was not doing well, and his family came to me and offered me $5,000 to get sober, and to also, at the time, I had a business where I sold produce, and they were the
What?
no, I really did. It was good. It was good front for my other businesses that I had.
Oh, okay.
So I had
real produce.
Yeah, real
okay.
produce to all the restaurants. I was probably like back in from 1992 to I'd say 2000. I sold wholesale produce to everybody in Orange County. I was competing against the Engardia brothers.
Oh my God, I see those trucks everywhere.
Right.
Were you just rolling in the dough?
I was making a lot of money, very, very, very young.
Wow.
But it was thank God because of the family that, and some of them are in recovery that I love and adore, and they're my mentors. Really helped me out, and they gave me terms with the items that they had a control over. They had control over packing house. They were a packing house, and they owned farms and contracted with all these other farms for tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, serrano, chili. So I'm serious. So
This is so random. I feel.
so see, there's not everything you do about me. So
No, absolutely not.
So you're half Mexican.
well, yes, I
Just
was.
kidding.
I was pretty. I mean, I was in with the Mexicans. I shouldn't even say that. I was in with Hispanics.
You can
Love
say
them.
Mexican. I don't care.
Love them. But
I'm so scared of getting
but-
canceled.
I know.
I love you so much. I'm so sorry.
No, so basically they gave me terms on when I had to pay for their produce back. And so it was very easy for me. They gave me 90-day terms, and I was able to go around to every restaurant here in Orange County and provide quality produce to them and have them hopefully pay me within 7, 14, 20 days and still be able to pay back the family's business that helped me. And one of their sons, well, 3 of their sons I grew up and went to high school with, but one of their sons had an issue with drugs, and I was the one supplying them with those drugs. So what happened was that they came to me and said, hey, you know, we really think that you and so should go to get treatment and go in recovery. And I was like, I don't need it. It's bullshit. Da da da. And they're like, well, it's not a will you do it? It's an ultimatum. This is what you're gonna do. You go get treatment. I'll give you $5,000 if you've completed it in 90 days. And they said, and we want you and my brother, because it was the older brother was telling me this, to go and get sober. So he goes, you have till Monday to let me know. If not, we're going to cut you off on our 90-day terms. You're going to have to pay everything that you owe. And if you can't, for the produce business. Now, at that time, I was blowing up in the produce business because Wahoo's Fish Taco came out and I landed that account. And so I had all 80 restaurants of theirs.
Holy shit.
And they were paying me every 7 days. And I had every Mexican restaurant you can think of from here to San Diego. And
did you have my dad's?
What was your dad?
In Linwood. Es Placita's restaurant. And then the other one was La Sirena.
La Sirena I had.
Oh, you did?
That's your
dad's? In Linwood?
No way.
Yeah.
That is your dad?
Yeah. Not anymore.
Okay.
In 1990 to 2005, maybe?
Okay.
2000?
Wow.
I had service La Sienas, but I should be careful with what I say. I maybe exaggerate. I didn't have every Mexican restaurant, but I had almost all the restaurants that I knew of in Long Beach, Redondo Beach,
South LA.
Yeah. Like El Mates, and then I had some of the big markets like El Matadors, El Capiones.
So were you also selling drugs to all these places too?
I wasn't selling it to them, but I was selling drugs, yes.
Oh, okay.
And it was, produce business is you can write off 70, 80% of your produce to perishable, because they're perishable goods. So you can buy produce and then say that you lost it because it went spoiled. So it was
damn, this is a good business.
So if anybody were to launder money, that would be the best way to launder money.
Holy shit.
Not saying that I did that.
Uh-huh.
But
new cop on the block.
But so I got sober. I went and I got sober. I didn't go to treatment
With the brother?
Yeah, we went. They told us they wanted us to go to 90 meetings in 90 days, and we did. And he just took 15 years.
Wow.
And our home group, or my home group, was Wednesday night men's stag, and I went there just recently because he just took 15 years, and it was really cool to see. So both of us after 90 days, like, my life had got way more manageable, right? And I was like, this is cool. So I stayed sober for just about 2 years, a little shy of 2 years, and I relapsed and didn't tell anybody. But I stopped going to meetings because I was afraid to, say, like, oh, raise my hand, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped going to meetings, and it was apparent to a lot of that family that I probably wasn't sober. And my friend, he continued going, and he stayed sober for a while, but then a couple of years later, he relapsed. But I was well into my disease again, doing a lot of drugs and trying to manage this produce company, and fighting with my business partner all the time because I would sleep in and be late running to accounts. And he was really good about getting up early, but he would stop once he delivered his produce. Then he would just go turn his phone off and take off and go golfing. And I would be back in the office all day adjusting prices because produce fluctuates, and sending out hundreds and hundreds of invoices and doing all the billing. And so I was in the office until like 7, 8 o'clock every night. So I was like burning the candle at both ends, and it just wasn't working for me anymore. And we came to a point where like I grossed like $4.2 million, and I was like in the hole, like almost close to $1 million, and had all this money that was owed to us from all these restaurants that, you know, were selling.
My dad.
You were in the hole because of the drugs or because
No,
of the produce?
because of the business. Well, I had hired a lot of friends that were driving trucks, and they would miss like bringing certain items to the restaurant, and then that restaurant would call me and say, "Oh my God, I never got my green leaf lettuce. I'm about to lettuce, green leaf lettuce, and I'm about to I got to prep food for lunch, you know, lunch rush." And so I'd be driving around, dropping off all these items at different restaurants. Like I'd drive to Santa Monica, drop off 2 cases of green leaf lettuce, because that's what they ordered. And then I'd drive to like El Matadors or whatever, because they didn't get like 7 cases of tomatoes that they were supposed to get to make for salsa for the lunch rush. So instead of me going back to the office and doing what I should have been doing and collecting the money and going around accounts, because if they're not sending me the money, I should be going to their office and saying, "Hey, you got my check today? You owe me $7,000, you know?" And so we started slowly, gradually getting in the hole because nobody was paying us on time.
So you guys weren't delivering.
No, we were delivering. We would just, they would.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. long story short, I was in the hole, and the only way to get out of it was to cut my losses, meaning cut the restaurants that weren't paying me and keep the restaurants that were. And at the time, the only restaurant that paid me every 7 days, like clockwork, was Wahoo's Fish Taco. But Wahoo's was blowing up, but I didn't want to. I wanted to have more eggs in one basket, and didn't want to just have Wahoo's as an account. In case we lost them, we would have been out of business.
Yeah.
But anyway, so long story short, I didn't stay sober, and I sold the business, and I got into a different business at the time, and slowed down on partying and tried to control it as best I could. And 7 years went by, and I'm back in jail. Looking at a 7-year. I've got arrested a few times, but nothing serious. But I was back in jail and going to prison on a serious charges that I had. And so when
was this? How old were you?
Make me do the math. I went to jail in 2005. Okay. So
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 2005, everything got caught up with me, and I got arrested, and my charges were content to sell, possession of narcotics, multiple weapons and firearms when I got raided and arrested. And so they were trying to give me 7 years for that. And so I got thrown in Theo Lacey. And when I went to Theo Lacey for the first time ever, because I've been arrested and I've gone to Newport City Jail and Huntington Beach City Jail and Irvine City Jail and a lot of different city jails, but I'd never been to jail. And so when I went to Theo Lacey, I was traumatized, and I'll tell you what happened. This is probably why I stayed sober.
Wait, but this was 20 years ago. You don't have 20 years.
I have 17.
Yeah.
I did a whole year. I didn't consider myself being 100% sober until I got out of jail and moved into a sober living when I got out of jail.
What?
Yeah.
But
sponsor
you were sober the entire time you were in jail?
I was. But I wasn't doing a program.
Wow.
That was personal choice.
But that was a personal choice, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people
I just wanted to clarify, because I know if I'm thinking it, the listeners are thinking it.
Yeah,
too.
so I've been sober since 2005.
Wow.
But I didn't take a sobriety date because and I'll explain why I made that decision.
Yeah, no, I love this. This is
if
something we've never heard before.
If I got it in jail, I would have done it.
Yeah.
And it was in jail. You could. Well, let me just tell you what happened.
Okay.
So
if my sponsee is listening to this is something you need to hear.
So I went to jail, and and let's hindsight, I went in there like and kind of had somewhat of a reputation. It wasn't a good reputation whatsoever,
What kind
but
of reputation?
but it was a reputation of a business that I had that I was very lucrative in, and had a lot of people working for me. So
Sex trafficking.
so no, it was not that.
The
You don't
cop
have to
is
tell
like,
us. You don't have to tell
the
us.
cop is like, Wren's not coming
I
on
know.
the street.
I know.
Okay, really quick.
Yeah.
I introduced him as the neighbor ruiner because he opens up sober livings and the neighbors come after him. Okay, keep going.
And I run very good sober livings,
Yes.
and
Very
and
ethical.
Very
and I
ethical.
help people.
Yeah.
That's why we asked you to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
So so I went to jail, and the mouse. There's a lot of politics in jail, and I had to learn quick. So they book me and they take me to this place called F West, and it's there's F West, F East, F, and South F. Like there's different names of each camp or area. They're blocks, like blockades, and in the blockades there's so many barracks in each blockade. So there's F West, F East, F.
I would
South.
be in C.
Why? Is that the Mexican one?
Gays, everybody.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Okay, go.
So
So what were you in?
C.
C?
you're so funny. No, I was in F West. So it's considered general population.
Yeah.
I get
It just
wrong.
means like regular
Gen pop,
people.
yeah.
Like
Gen
what
pop.
he goes, like
Which
just
one?
drug people, no murders.
Which
nothing.
one?
It's called Gen Pop.
Oh, yeah, I know
It's
that.
general
That sounds
population.
like a Korean pop star.
I know.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, so then you went
so
there.
I went in there, and there's this inmate that runs up to me, and the sheriffs call him the mouse. And the mouse, what he does is he gives messages to the sheriffs, and he's the only one really supposed to be talking to the sheriffs. So he goes, who do you run with? And I'm like, I'm a surfer. I grew up surfing. He
And
goes,
Badia produce.
Yes. And he goes, oh, you're gonna run with the woods. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, come on over here, and I'll introduce you to the wood rat. So in there, there's there's unwritten rules that the inmates police themselves, so the sheriffs don't have to work as hard.
Mhm.
And they know what goes on, but they allow it to happen because it makes their job less complicated.
Yeah.
So the rep I ended up knowing because of on the streets. I when I was doing what I was doing, I sold him drugs, and he knew who I was. So he's like, listen, man. He's like, first we hugged it out, and then he told me all the rules, and there's a lot of rules in there. And he goes, when you go to court on Monday, I need you to get your papers and bring them back here and show me what you got arrested for. Now nowadays, nowadays, it's against the law to be able to actually get your papers as an inmate and be able to show them to somebody else. And the reason it is because of what happened that day that I was there.
It's a law because of you?
No, not because of me. Because of what happened in my barracks. It wasn't that day. It was on the following day, which was Monday. So I was arrested, booked, and by the time I got to my barracks, it was Sunday night. And Sunday night, so the next day I was going to court on Monday. And when I went to court on Monday, I had to bring back my papers. If I didn't bring back my papers, I was going to get black and blued. And what black and blued means is that they take you into the showers, and there's 4 guys that beat on you from head to toe, and you can fight back. So I was scared for my life. That I'm like, oh my God, I'm just in jail and already got to do something to not get the shit kicked out of me. So. I said, why? Why do I have to get my papers? And he said, well, we're going to let a child molester in general population. Now, typically, they take child molesters, pornographers, snitches, unfortunately gays, and they put them all in the same area and to segregate them from any people that have history of violence and against
those
anybody.
types of people.
Right. So I'm like, okay. And if I don't get my papers, they're like, everyone's got to bring their papers. It gets arrested today and goes to court tomorrow, so we can find out who it was. The shot caller, who is the inmate that runs all the inmates. So every jail or prison has a shot caller. He has a right-hand man, and that shot caller, no matter what car he's in, and car is a race, what car he's in, then you have a woodpile rep and his right-hand man, Southsider rep and his right-hand man, Brothers and Others rep and his
That's
right-hand.
for white people, not for us.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's different in there. So anyway, so I had to get my papers, and so I was scared for my life. Went and got my papers, came back super stoked, came into F West. Now, mind you, there's a bubble on the wall that you can't see through. It's like a big glass bubble, and on the other side of it are sheriffs watching you in a tower, and so they see everything that's going on. The only place they can't see, there are 2 blind spots, and it's at the very end of the showers. Like, there's no doors on the showers. It's tile. You walk in, there's shower heads coming out, blowing, like, shooting water. But at the very end of the showers, at the end where the wall, there's like a part that's blocked off and you can't see it, right? So anybody that gets torpedoed or black and blued has to go in there, and that's where they do it, so sheriffs can't see. So I come in there and I come up to my rep and I'm like, I got my papers. And like, when I walked in there, it was chaotic. People were running around, like something was going on. And what had happened is that guy had already been led into our F West.
On accident.
Well, no.
They do it on purpose, yeah.
They did it on purpose.
Yeah,
and there's a whole thing on this. So
yeah.
The guy was unconscious already. They had already beat him up so bad that his head looked like a watermelon, and they were dragging him from the upstairs showers to the downstairs showers, easily in plain view that the sheriffs could see. So the sheriffs knew what was going on, and my rep said, hey, it's going to get gnarly in here. We're going to yell man down as soon as we do. The sheriffs are going to come in and start anybody, because when sheriffs come in, when you see them walking down the hallway, the mouse is supposed to let you know, like, hey, walking, and that means everyone mellow out. Like, and then when they come to the door, you're supposed to yell inside, and everyone's supposed to sit down. And the sheriffs want you to do that because they want you to all sit down so you're not a threat to them. Mm-hmm. It's for their safety. Mm-hmm. So everyone's running around. My rep goes, you got to get on your rack and just stay there and don't be a part of this. And the shot caller had told everybody to be a part of it because he didn't want anyone to be singled out of who did what to this guy.
Right.
So I walk up to my barracks. I'm freaking out. I mean, this is the second day I'm in jail. I'm freaking out. I have my papers in my hand.
From produce
two Southsiders, Hispanic guys that were like gangbangers, like came up and said, hey, homie, where you going? And I'm like, I'm just going to my rack. My rep told me to get on my rack. And you're not supposed to like start anything with another car or disrespect anybody with another car, because if you do, then your own car will torpedo you and beat on you for 13 seconds where they hit you from the shoulders down, but not the face, and you'd have to cover your head. And 2 guys on each side of you, boom, 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 13 seconds. So I'm like, hey, man, my rep told me to get on the rack. He's like, no, man, you got to go down and kick that guy. And I'm like, no, dude, I am not kicking that guy. I'm getting out tomorrow. I'm getting on my rack. Yeah. And they're like, you got a problem. So they start throwing swings at me. I start fighting these 2 guys. And then luckily my rep and shot caller were sitting on this like common area where this bench is, and they see me fighting. So they run up and break it up, thank God. And the shot caller's like, I'll handle my guys, meaning they're going to get torpedoed. And my rep's like, just get on the rack. And I got on the rack. He's like, I'm going to yell man down. It's going to get crazy. Just be calm. They yell man down. As soon as they yelled man down, the sheriffs come running in with riot gear on. Everyone's running around and getting away from the guy that's unconscious. And they're shooting everybody with beanbag shotguns, hitting people with the back of their shotgun butt heads. They hit me in the head because I had my papers on my rack. And the sheriff's like, what is that? I'm like, it's my papers. And he like swings and hits me in the head right here. And I have a scar still.
Wow.
And I go down on the thing, and one sheriff starts kicking me, and I drag myself under a bunk bed. And This is like a freaking movie. Like,
Yeah,
this is my
I've
second
literally
day.
seen a scene like this in a show.
So,
on a TV
so then I'm like scared for my life, freaking out, and they tear everything up. They ruin. They thrash all the beds. They do it on purpose. They smash all your commentary, which are like ding dongs and ho-hos that you can get if you have money on your books. And so the whole place is a mess. And then they're waiting for the paramedics, and it takes like an hour before the paramedics show up. Paramedics show up. It's quiet, and you can hear a pin drop in there. And they start giving the guy CPR and trying to resuscitate him because he's unconscious, and nothing's working. So then they get out the paddles, and they're like, clear. And you hear this boom, 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 beep. And they're like, it didn't work. Do it again. And as the one guy's giving him CPR, the other guy's like hitting the thing. And then you just hear all the noise, and he's like, clear. And you hear this boom, boom. And then you hear this beep, 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 beep. And they did it like 3-4 times. And each time his heart came back for like a few seconds and then stopped beating.
Mm-hmm.
So they pronounced him dead. And they literally like brought in a body bag and put him in a body bag and put him on a stretcher and wheeled him out.
Oh my God.
And then CSI and detectives came, and it became a crime scene, and all of us had to get up from F West. There was 200 inmates, and we all had to go to the cafeteria. And I will never forget this. We had to go to the cafeteria, and of course, I'm the only one that's got to go to the bathroom. And everyone's afraid to raise their hands. And there's no bathrooms in the cafeteria. And I raised my hand because I'm going to pee my pants. We've been sitting in there for every 7 hours, and nothing's happening. And so I raise my hand, and I have a sheriff start screaming at me, and he's like threatening to beat me up again. And sheriffs are so mean to us. And so they're like, he's like screaming at me. It's the same guy that hit me with the shotgun butt of it, you know, and I have like blood on my face. And then luckily every inmate started raising their hands, and everyone had to go to the bathroom. It was kind of cool. And it was like, okay, so all the sheriffs that were in there walking around guarding us got us up single file, and one by one we went down to the showers that were closest to us, and we were able to pee in the shower. If you had to do a number 2, you were screwed. And so we went back in the cafeteria, and then one by one all of us went in different rooms and undressed. We got pictures taken of us. DNA swabs, fingernails DNA check, saliva check.
Like a full-on investigation.
Yep, to make sure that we weren't or were involved or weren't involved. And then we would go to detectives, and we'd have a good cop, bad cop, just grilling us in a room, saying who did it, who was involved. You were involved. You're looking at 20 years to life. This is conspiracy to commit murder, da 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 da. And so that process took 3 days. And finally, after all that, and they let us go back into F West, and I was getting bailed out, and I actually got bailed out.
You were facing 7 years.
I was facing 7. So,
but you got bailed out after 3.
So I got bailed out, right? But then I was advised after I got bailed out to go back to jail and start doing time now. And it would look better for me.
Yeah.
And at the point, I didn't want to put my mom and dad through any more stuff. So I actually went back there. And from there, I fought my case in a different barracks. And then from there, I went to the farm in Irvine and finished 3 more months there instead of going to Wasco or Chino, which are prisons. Signed a deal at the farm on a joint suspension saying if I got released after, so usually at a county year is 9 months, you go to prison. So on 9 months, they finally threw out a deal that I took. And so then I went to the farm for 3 more months working like in the farms, and which was jail still too, but it was a lot easier working.
Like Martha Stewart.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool. And I was a landscaper, so I got to go to every compound and just water the flowers and stuff. It was super cool.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Sounds
then,
nice.
but then I became the messenger guy, and I'm supposed to pass kites. It's called kites, little messages to all the reps, letting them know what the other reps are up to, and yeah. So like you're always having to play politics. So the thing is, in there,
I wouldn't last.
dude. So that's what's crazy is I
would
had
get fucked
to.
every day.
I thought
I said I would get fucked every day.
so.
Is this real?
Speaking of that, I had to. I had to really start playing chess I mean like life chess in there, I was thinking that I was going to have to do 7 years. So I tried to make a name for myself in jail and eventually became a rep, a woods rep. And when you become a rep, anything that's smuggled into the jails, you get a third of. So no matter if the Southsiders or Brothers and Others or Paisanos sneak anything in, they give a third to every car of whatever they sneak in. So there's no one that riots against one another
Right.
of unfairness.
Right.
So I was doing what I did on the outside, on the inside. So the reason I chose not to say that I was sober is I was still doing a lot of shady fucking things in jail.
But you were getting all of the drugs.
I was getting all the
but you
drugs.
were choosing not to do them.
I was choosing not to do them.
No, I like what he said.
Yeah.
Because you know what? My sponsor says, and he asks people, "Are you done?" And
Yeah.
he goes, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm done doing drugs." He goes, "No. Are you done doing slut behavior?" Which means lying, cheating, stealing. Because if you're not done with that, you're not sober.
Yeah.
Or you're not actively trying to be sober. Yeah.
That's a great sponsor. And that's what my sponsor said too. and that's what my sponsor said too. It's like, look, if you have this one way of how you've been living, and if you don't change that way, whether you're putting a substance in your body or not, you're still behaving that way, and eventually the substances will be back in your body.
Yeah.
So I was behaving like a drug dealer, and that's what I was. And I had that mentality, and I had always have an angle on somebody. Like, you weren't my friend unless I could get something from you. And so when I decided to change that is when I took my sobriety date.
Yeah.
Right? To make an effort to change
So
that.
how long did you end up actually staying in jail or prison?
So I stayed in jail for a full 12 months.
Okay.
And I got out.
That's not that
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, so that was 20 years ago. So there's 3 years from 2005 to your sobriety date, right?
So 2005, I got arrested, and
It probably took a long time to get you in.
Well, no. 2005, going into 2006, it was the end of 2005.
Okay.
I got arrested.
Okay.
I did a whole year in 2006, and then in 2007, I moved into at the end of 2005 going into 2006. I got arrested right before. It must have been in November, because then I was in jail in 2006, and that's when all that happened. Or 2006, and then I stayed till 2007 in jail. Got out in 2007, and then moved into a sober living. And then May 22nd, the first couple months I was in sober living, I said I was sober, but I wasn't. You didn't do anything. I wasn't taking any chips, right? I was living. No, I had to go to meetings. I was going to meetings. I got a sponsor to fake it, right? Like a sponsor, I'm on step 3, and I'll get around to step 4, and never really doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I took a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day chip, and I was sober, but when I went through the steps with my real sponsor, who ended up being my business partner later on, he's the one that took me through the steps, and he said, "Why don't we pick this day as your sobriety date?" Because that was the day that I finished my step 9 and was working on 10, 11, and 12. And so that, to me, in all honesty, and what he thought and I thought, that my mind had shifted on how I looked at myself, right? So I was in sober living for a good 2 years. I would say maybe almost 2 years, a year and a half. I'd say so. So 2007, May 22nd, 2007, I would say I was sober the first year, finished my steps, right? And I kept telling him, well, my sobriety date's this date. And he's like, he kept telling me, is it? And I'm like, what do you fucking mean, is it? And he goes, is it really? And I didn't get it right away. And then when I was going on step 10, 11, 12, he goes, what do you think your sobriety date really should be this time? And I'm like, okay, I am sober, but this is when I changed my mind, and it was May 22nd, 2007.
You made a decision.
I made a decision.
You had your spiritual experience. And you felt different.
Yeah.
You had a psychic change.
I had a psychic change.
That was the day of your psychic change.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess that's the better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because I am sober longer than 17 years, but I had a psychic change on May 22nd, 2007.
Whoa.
And so that's what I stuck with.
I love that, actually. That's very cool.
Yeah, and at first I was like kind of like resentful. I'm like, this
of
bullshit,
course.
because I have like fucking really almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
But,
you're like, do you know what I went through in jail?
Yeah.
And I was sober through it all?
That's crazy.
but I was behaving bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was selling drugs in there, pushing stuff.
Yeah.
Having to be taken care of because I was a rep. So you have to like keep the peace. So you have to do things I don't mean I didn't hurt anybody.
To survive.
Do you feel like you made a conscious decision when you went into jail to not continue using drugs? Like, how did you just go into that environment and not continue using drugs like most people do?
I think like I always had this business mindset. I think I was more, don't get me wrong, I'm an alcoholic and an addict, right? But I think that my main DOC was selling drugs. It was the business of me making money and feeling, it was an ego thing. It was like, do you know who I am? I'm this fucking badass drug dealer. And really, I was just a dumb motherfucking idiot. But I had this ego thing, and I didn't learn about this ego thing that was controlling my life until I really found out of some trauma that happened to me with my brother and I beating the shit out of me. There's a whole nother fucking chapter of my sobriety, but I didn't realize that was the reason I made the decision to be a drug dealer. I made the decisions to be a drug dealer is because that's the only way I was able to control my brother. My brother had a drug problem. He beat the shit out of me my whole life. I realized that he had a drug problem, started selling drugs to him, and for the first time in my life, I was able to control somebody that I could never, ever have control over. And the power in that, that I got, right there was a psychic change as a child, as a young kid, doing and going down the wrong path and making the bad decisions.
Yeah.
And then that ego just kept getting fueled by controlling everybody and having the power and everybody having to come to me, you know? And that lasted for 20 years. And then I went to jail and I saw a guy get beat to death and I'm like, I don't want to do prison. This is crazy. And I'm already playing politics and I'm becoming a rep and I'm having to make decisions in my life that I don't want to have to make of beating people up and getting them torpedoed to keep the peace. And Southsiders always trying to start shit with you. And it was just crazy. It was a lot of shit. And that was just jail. And prison's a lot different. Prison's a lot more respect, but you'll fucking die if you don't do the right thing in prison. Jail, you're not supposed to die. But I witnessed someone dying and I'm like, this is fucking shitty, dude. I do not.
Did you actually go to prison?
No.
No, you got out of it.
I got out of it.
You went to the farm.
You got out before he made the deal.
Yeah. So when I went to sober living, I was still had stinking thinking, and I you like that? But I didn't want to mess up on probation, so I followed all the rules, and this is what happened. I was going to meetings every day like I was supposed to do 90-90. I was doing that I could do. And I was going with a group of guys in the house, and we all got sponsors. They were getting step 4 and 5 and 6 done. I was just saying, oh, I don't have time for it. I'm working too much. But really, the real reason is I didn't want to do it. I was afraid. And these guys did it. many miracles started happening in their life that I couldn't explain and they couldn't explain. But they were getting better job opportunities, higher pay, court stuff was working out in their favor. All these little things were happening, and none of them were happening for me. And I was looking at 7 years still on probation. And I'm like, fuck you guys. And I was super mad, and I was getting resentful of my close friends that I got sober with. And the owner of the house noticed it, and he's like, pulled me off to the side, and he's like, why are you afraid to do 12 steps? And I'm like, I'm not acting all tough. I'm not. I don't, it's not for me. I mean, what is it going to make me change? I have a good heart. I'm a good person. He's like, then why are you afraid to do the 12 steps? And I'm like, I just don't have time for it. And he goes, if I shared my inventory, my 4-step with you, would you be open to the idea of sharing your 4-step with me? Because I did step 1, 2, and 3. And I did it openly. Like I believed, I was admitting that I was an alcoholic and addict, and I knew that because I'd already gotten sober before almost 2 years, and I'm like, I knew if I didn't have alcohol and drugs in my system that I would probably manage life a lot better, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you just do the 4-step? I'll share mine, and if mine's worse than yours, then you don't have to share yours. So he shared me his 4-step, and I was like, mine is not worse than yours. I have no problem giving you my 4 steps.
Yeah.
So I shared it with him, and then he took me through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and has been my sponsor ever since.
And this was your sober living owner.
This was Greg Olihaver, which I love dearly, and he took me through the steps, and then
But
we
he
became
was the owner of the sober
Keystone
living that you
Sober.
ran.
Yeah, Keystone Sober Living
Oh
for
my
Men.
God, I didn't realize you went through his sober living forever ago too.
Yeah. So from there, I became that, and he would never sponsor anybody that was the house manager, but he took me through the steps. I became the house manager there, and I just said, hey, I really want you to be my sponsor. My other sponsor and I love the guy, but I didn't see everything that I see in you, and I would rather you be my sponsor. And he's like, I'll be your sponsor, but like nobody in the house can know this, and because he felt bad, right?
Yeah.
And now everybody knows, but this is years later. But but like, and he's like, and you can't sponsor anybody that lives in the house because we don't want people to get like thinking that they're getting special privileges, right? If you're sponsoring them in the house, and that made sense.
Yeah.
So I became his business partner, and then we opened up 4 more sober livings, Keystone, and they were great. And he's getting ready to retire a couple of years ago, and he wanted to downsize, and he had some health issues, and so did his wife, and so they wanted to do that, and I wanted to continue opening sober living, so I left, and we all made this decision. They all knew about it, that I was going to start opening my own sober livings called Higher Purpose Recovery, and that he would eventually get rid of the last one that he has, which is still open today in Costa Mesa, that we got licensed by the city because we're doing everything the right way. And it's still there today in operation, but he's going to be retiring soon and selling that property.
Yeah. And you're taking it over.
No, I think he's going to give it to one of his daughters. So,
okay.
So he has a lot of daughters, and each one of them is going to get a house that they own. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to your first year. So your journey was like
all through jail,
but then your real sobriety date is
May 22nd
after jail.
Yeah.
You
go.
Did you? Okay, you said you realized you did all that stuff, and the lying, cheating, and everything.
Yeah.
Did that bleed a little bit into after May 22nd, and you're like, oh shit, and you fixed it right away?
No, it like I had a real psychic change, like the first year and a half I was in sober living, and all my friends were doing the 12 steps, and many miracles started happening in their life. And then my now sponsor noticed that and pulled me aside. And then he had me do the steps, and then he kept asking me, like, what's your sobriety date? And I always thought he was just fucking with me, because he does that a lot. He's really good about going, how was your day? And then you're like, fine. And he goes, no, really, how was your day? And he would look at you of this weird, like you had some shit you're hiding.
Like he knows.
Like he knows, right? And so he would always go, when's your sobriety day? And I always thought, like, I didn't fucking relapse, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I know you're not understanding what I'm saying. And it took me a minute. And when I did the 12 steps, I had a mini miracle happen, like within.
But you didn't have any more character defects? That's what Jimmy's asking.
I did.
What were you doing wrong in your first year? That's what our podcast is for. Give us the tea. Were you perfect?
No, I was never perfect. I'm still not perfect, Jimmy. My ego still needed to be in check.
Okay.
My ego needed to be checked a lot. And I had friends and my sponsor that checked my ego a lot.
Did you have, I'm sure H&I hospitals and institutions, for people that don't know what H&I stands for, was coming to the jail, right?
Yeah.
So you could have made the decision to go into H&I and do the meetings there. Yeah, the panels where people come into the jails. How did you get from jail to sober living? Like, that was part of the deal?
Did you do the H&I?
No.
You weren't exposed to
no.
at all.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Yes, I was exposed to H&I. Yes, people came into jail, and yes, I would do that just so I could pass messages in the AA.
That's why he chose his date, his intention.
No, I know.
But that was funny.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like, I go to meetings now to find a girlfriend.
Yeah, literally.
You're not there to get sober.
But something miraculously happened. I was fighting I was trying to get my case. I had been like 2 years, and after I finished the 12 steps, I did this New Leaf program at Orange County where they can help you get your felonies dropped down to misdemeanors or your felonies thrown out. And I went through the New Leaf program, and soon after I did the 12 steps.
That's what I did.
And started making my amends after step 9, right? So a couple weeks went by, and I was doing the paperwork at the same time. I got a call from the public defender's office, and they had set a court date. And I went to that court date, and they, I still get emotional. They dropped all the charges. And he had asked me again, what day is your sobriety date? And it just dawned on me just now that that's why it was May 22nd. Because after May 22nd, everything got dropped.
Damn.
And I knew at that time, like, I needed to walk a spiritual path.
Because God gave you a second chance.
Yeah.
I'm crying too.
I always get emotional.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I have never, when I share sometimes in meetings, I start crying sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when people did that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And now I do it. It like comes and you cannot stop
You can't
it.
stop it.
Yeah.
Thank God you just laughed, and so it kind of pulled me out of it. But
it is so incredibly, like, how do you not get emotional?
No,
yeah.
That is the moment where God gave you a second chance.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's the miracle you were talking about.
And it changed your life.
Yeah. It changed my life.
Yeah.
And
Wren,
I know. Oh, I know. And
from jail to murders to neighborhood ruiner.
Yeah.
To brotherhood of a fucking traveling pants.
I don't know what that meant, but whatever.
It's like what you went through together with like a girl movie.
Oh yeah. So from that point on, I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And
you help so many addicts. It's crazy.
I appreciate that. And still this day, like, seeing them come in all ruffled up like I was, like, you know, or ego or whatever, and just trying to walk them through and show them love and use some of the knowledge my sponsor did for me onto them. And then to see the light come on in their eyes, like, that's where the magic happens for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's why I keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
What about
coming.
one more question.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, one more question. So we always wrap up with like trying to bring it back to that newcomer, and considering you help so many newcomers, you have sober living, so you're seeing a lot of people. What is one piece of advice that you can share with our listeners that I'm sure you share with your clients that live in your sober living? I don't know if you call them clients or residents, but something that, you know, is it just like a piece of hope or just a message for them?
I think the one thing that I do try to share with all of them is that please just give it a year of taking simple direction and doing what's suggested. And if your life has not got better within a year, then go back out and hang out with the misery and pain that you've always hung out with. Because I don't know anybody in sobriety that's got to a year of sobriety and taken direction where their life hasn't got unbelievably better than where it was the day they decided to get sober.
Yeah, I love that piece of advice.
Yeah.
Just give it a year.
Just
give it a year, sober
Just
disclosure
give it a year.
listeners. That's from Wren, and it's going to work for you, I promise. Anyways.
Thank you for letting
Your
me
quote.
What? What's my quote?
You're the one that you say. What's one quote that you got from? I don't know either.
Okay, that's fine. Anyways, okay, well, thank you so much, Wren, for coming out. Thank you for
Jimmy.
getting so vulnerable with us. And wow, I learned so much about you. And thank you all for listening. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Jimmy from the Sea Barracks.
And we are Sober Disclosure.
Bye, guys.
Toodles.
This episode is brought to you by Light Salon, Orange County's premier destination for expert hair color. At Light Salon, we specialize in creating stunning custom color transformations that highlight your natural beauty. Owned and operated by passionate, sober stylists, we bring authenticity, creativity, and precision to every client experience. Light Salon.